Good morning, traders. Richard here, and welcome to today's edition of Ichimoku Cloud Chart market analysis of the Nasdaq Composite Index, Nasdaq 100 Index, Nasdaq Equal Weighted Index, and Nasdaq 100 excluding tech. We're going to keep our fingers on the pulse of the market to see where we're going next. We've had a nice strong rally, rebound rally from bottom in the cloud here. Look at the Nasdaq Composite Index. And then we had a couple of upside targets, was the turning line, standard line, top end of the cloud, and old highs, and we got to all three of them apart from the very last one. The market ran into a little bit of a consolidation or resistance here at the old June high there, and now we're in consolidation mode. Slice past the turning line of the Ichimoku Cloud, and downside targets now is the top end of the Ichimoku Cloud here, as well as the standard line. So there's a expect about a 4.5% correction down to the top end, bottom end, and the standard line of the Ichimoku Cloud. So you can see also this zone here, that zone there is also a potential support zone. So there's downside risk for the market to go and test the top end of the Ichimoku Cloud as well as the standard line at Ichimoku Cloud. But just be aware, if the market starts trading below the Ichimoku Cloud, then we're entering bearish territory. So it's pretty a line in the sand. We know exactly where to get out of the entire market is when we're starting to dip below the Ichimoku Cloud. So that's the line in the sand. The market needs to rebound from that zone to continue the current rally. If this rebound fails and we start trading below the Ichimoku Cloud, then the market enters bearish territory. If we look at the Nasdaq Composite from a weekly cloud chart perspective here, we can see that if it just would load the actual chart there we go, we're still quite far extended from the top end of the Ichimoku Cloud. So there's downside risk here to the turning line of the Ichimoku Cloud there and the standard line of the Ichimoku Cloud there. So watch out for the September-October seasonal weak period in the market that we can see. If we don't get a rebound from the top end of the daily Ichimoku Cloud, then there's downside risk to these two zones as well as the top end of the front end of the cloud there. We can probably put a line up there. If you just put that one there, down there we go. So that's kind of the other level to watch for. These are the three downside risk targets. If we start trading below the Ichimoku Cloud, as we've now identified which line in the sand to look out for from an Ichimoku Cloud chart perspective. Right, the Nasdaq 100 index there, let's have a look at that one. Also had a very strong rebound rally from the bottom end of the Ichimoku Cloud, briefly dipped into bearish territory, but this is a classic swing trade cloud chart rebound support buy there. Slice through the turning line, standard line, and the top end of the Ichimoku Cloud, and then a bit of water torches, trying to find support here at the top end of the cloud. Popped up, ran into trouble. You have the June highs there, and now back testing the top end of the Ichimoku Cloud for support. Watch out for downside risk to the top end of the front end of the cloud there, that just below 29,000. We could see that zone being tested. So there's two levels to watch out for. Is the top end of the front end of the cloud as well as this zone. So look out for these three levels as the downside risk target. So we could see a sell-off back down to the bottom end of the Ichimoku Cloud and then continue the rally there. Once again, if we slice below that zone and stay below that zone, then we're in bearish territory on the daily Ichimoku Cloud for the Nasdaq. If we look at the Nasdaq Composite from a weekly perspective here, it's taking a while to load because all the graphics. There we go. We can see Nasdaq Composite there, also somewhat of a risky extended zone here, very extended at the top end of the cloud here. Downside risk to the turning line and standard line of the Ichimoku Cloud, as well as the top end of the front end of the cloud. So these are the downside risk targets on the weekly if we start trading below the Ichimoku Cloud on a daily basis. So watch out. So we've got our line in the sand. These are potential rebound zones, so keep a close eye on the price interaction there. Looking at the NDXE, yeah, we've got the equal weighted index. Equal weight index, we had a fantastic rebound within the cloud from bottom in the front end cloud support zone, broke past the top end of the Ichimoku cloud, and now we made a new high there, but only pulling back. So there's consolidation risk to the turning line Ichimoku cloud there. Keep a close eye on that zone. Top end of the front end of the cloud, right about there, and then the standard line. So when the market consolidates back down to these levels, watch out for potential rebound when it gets to the standard line and the top end of the Ichimoku cloud. But this is kind of a consolidation in a normal kind of pullback rally after a breakout. It's going to come and retest the top end cloud resistance for new support zones. So looking for support to come back in at the turning line Ichimoku cloud, and if that fails, we'll see if it comes back into the standard line Ichimoku cloud. But as long as we stay above the bottom end of the Ichimoku cloud, this rally is still bullish on an equal weighted basis. That tells you the market's a little bit healthy there. It's not only the Nasdaq 100 that is struggling a little bit. Now if we look at the NDXX, which is the Nasdaq 100 excluding tech, reached our old high resistance target there. So when we did the cloud chart cross here, the upside target was this high cloud chart resistance level, and then that high there, and we reached both targets, and now it's pulling back, consolidating this move back down once again. Look for the turning line Ichimoku cloud for support to come back in there. This old 6100 old cloud charts level there can also be tested, but the ultimate major support zone would be the standard line of the Ichimoku cloud, as well as the top end of the front end of the cloud. So there's a cluster of support in and around these levels, but once again, as long as we stay above the bottom end of the cloud, the rally should still remain bullish. This comes after a very long period of bearishness here for a couple of months, and then finally broke through the cloud and then entered bullish territory, and we're still in that bullish territory zone. We've just reached the old high there, so now there's consolidation risk to those levels. But back to the Nasdaq Composite. I'm watching very closely to see if support will come back in here at the top end of the front end of the cloud, as well as that cloud chart zone, and the standard line of Ichimoku cloud is the last major support zone to be tested. So watch out for these levels, critical rebound zones, and we are moving into a seasonal difficult period, September and October, but keep a close eye on these critical support zones. Thank you for watching. Until next time, happy cloud chart trading. Bye for now.